Good evening, everybody. It's Steve of Real Progressives, 11 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time. This broadcast is going to represent a slight departure from economics, as it's become blatantly obvious that our movement is what I would call a bunch of scattered singles. A bunch of identity politics has just invaded our movement to the point of the chance of unity actually coming in to work with us, to actually guide us to a common purpose, seemingly so far out of reach, it's unbelievable. I mean, the hatred that many feel toward Bernie Sanders, while I certainly understand the disappointment, misses the point that his platform, you don't have to like the man. The man's not running for anything, but his platform should be an freaking ironclad unifying platform that we all can freaking totally get behind. Community policing, ending the drug war, legalizing pot, freaking, Medicare for all, free college for all, Jill Stein's plan, ending student debt, eradicating student debt, freaking investing in infrastructure, big infrastructure spending. Every bit of this should be a unifying factor. Every single bit of this. And instead, everybody's going around with their identity politics. Something that, is going to naturally balkanize, divide. It's almost like people want to create 1,000,001 United States. They don't want to create a unified United States. They don't want to create a unified left. They want to be so fucking special that there's no chance of unity, folks. There's literally no chance of unity with this infection. It's like a bunch of little teeny ideas, like a scattered singles all over the place, none of which is coalescing into one movement. And it's a damn shame, because between Jill's platform, the Green New Deal, and Bernie's platform, the New Deal, you put that together, that should be our guidepost come hell or high water. Shouldn't make a bit of difference about anything beyond that. Inequality is solved. Goes after racial inequality, goes after gender inequality. It goes after the environment. It goes after green energy. It goes after ending student debt. It goes into making all of our lives better. That should be an ironclad, go forward, unifying platform for all of us. Instead of all this bullshit, this division, this divisive nonsense. We're never, ever getting anywhere as long as we're sitting there bowing a knee to this special interest. It's almost exactly like every other time we failed, right? It's almost like every other time that we failed. But you look across the pond at a real left, and you see them uniting around a common core of ideas. You can't do that here. Everybody's a special fucking snowflake. Everybody's a special snowflake. And when you try and tell them, we can enable this Green New Deal, we can enable this freaking Bernie Sanders New Deal using the economics that Bernie Sanders put forward, people can't handle it. They lose their fucking minds. And they scatter like fucking roaches to all sorts of places. They want to unite. Well, what are they uniting around? Oh, I don't like the Democrats, so let's unite. Bad duopoly, let's unite. That's not anything to build a movement on, folks. It's not. But you had ironclad programs, ironclad ideas, ironclad, perfect, New Deal living that made every one of our lives better. It didn't matter what race you were. Didn't matter what gender you were. It made all of our lives better. It made our kids' lives better, and it made our earth inhabitable. It should have been the easiest thing to unify around. But you can go around and watch. There are people out there that only want to talk about how bad other people are. Only want to talk about how bad it is. That you never hear them talk about New Deal politics at all. You never hear them talk about what we're for and how to make it. You just hear them talk about, we got to disconnect from society. We got to run off and hide in the woods. We got to go ahead and do this crazy thing. We got to do that crazy thing. We don't ever talk about making our country and our world right and uniting around the thing that got us all going, got this movement going. All of a sudden, the nihilists and the other people that want to burn it down are pulling people this way and that way. Now, as a parent, is that what you want for your kids? Is that what you want? You want to burn it down for them? Is that really going to help them? We don't even need to talk about parties right now. We need to talk about what the movement represents so people have an idea where they're heading. And if it's all identity politics, and if it's all my special thing, your special thing, their special thing, everybody's special thing, it's a bunch of, like literally political orphans running here and there with no sense of purpose. There's no way it's going to happen. That is primarily why we focus on economics, because everybody's got to eat. Everybody needs health care. Everybody needs shelter. Everybody needs to have the resources to survive. It's a very, very simple message, but it's one that people, for whatever reason, are too goddamn special to fucking unite around. So while this group is saying, yeah, I cannot just hang out for the sake of hanging out. I'm not going to just sit down and hang out for the sake of hanging out. This New Deal stuff, it satisfies all of our basic needs. We know we're against war. That's pretty much a given. We know we want to end the drug war. That's pretty much a given. We know we want Medicare for all. That's pretty much a given. We know we want to shift to green energy. That's pretty much a given. So why in God's name are we deploying all this fucking identity politics? You watch people getting killed by the police. We got police reform as part of the platform. You don't have to like Bernie. You can fucking be special. You can run around talking all kinds of stuff. If that makes you feel good, knock yourself out. Aces. Totally cool. Be special. But if you want to unite a real left wing in America, you got to have a platform that you're fighting for. It can't just be, we're not the duopoly. It can't just be, we're against them, whoever them is. And it can't be, well, we'll all figure out what we want to be when we get older, someday down the road. Let's just all get together today. There is already a tried and true blueprint. This is a no-brainer. This should be super freaking simple. Fight for labor. A federal job guarantee right now. Folks, there is so much shit out there, so much stuff that is not being done right now because it's not profitable. There is no excuse for there to be any unemployment in this country without desire. If you want to be unemployed, knock yourself out. But the point is that there's no excuse under the sun that anyone that wants to have a job should be jobless. There's no reason for it, but yet here we are. There's no reason that we should not be able to feed the hungry at all. I mean, like this is easy stuff. But we can't unite around it because Joey over there wants to end the Fed. Billy over there wants to do this. Susie over there wants to do that. We can do this shit today, but we can't fucking unite around the two platforms, Jill and Bernie, who gave us New Deal thinking, New Deal 2016 living, okay? This is an easy, easy, easy thing. But all you hear people doing is talking about distraction still. That's it. That's it. This should be a super simple unification message. Now, most people honestly didn't take the time to learn, didn't give a fuck, unfortunately. They didn't care how Bernie Sanders was going to make these things happen. They didn't believe, many people didn't even believe it was really possible. They just liked the ideas. They didn't really actually believe it was possible. Well, some of us who did pay attention knew it was possible and fought like the end of the world was coming, and that's what we're fighting for to this day. We knew it was possible. We know the only problem is that people in our movement try to make it impossible by focusing on anything but making it possible. You want to double down on let's just get united? I want to unite with people that really want to make this shit happen. I don't want to be united with a bunch of people that want to burn it down and want to tear it apart and want to rip it apart when we can save lives today. I don't have that kind of entitlement to just kind of put people's lives in the death basket while I figure out what I want to do when I get older. I want to save lives today because the people that need it now matter to me. It matters to real progressives. I'm not willing to let them die for some futuristic thing that isn't going to happen anyway, or probably won't happen, or doesn't in any way, shape, or form have anything to do with right here, right now. I'm all about saving poor people's lives, middle class lives, families, our fucking planet today, right now. This should be an easy unifying message. And yet it's not. And yet it's not. Why is that? Ego? Pride? I don't know. I really don't. But I know this much. Our enemy, if you will, they don't have these problems. They don't. Our enemy does not have these problems. They don't care. They just move forward. And here we are, playing around, playing games, playing let's have a party. We need to pull people out of that duopoly so that we can do these things. There's no question about that. But the purity testing and the, oh, well, you said this, so I don't like you anymore, so you can't be part of my party. This bullshit, this petty, childish shit is lethal to our movement. It is fucking lethal. I mean, lethal. The arrogance, the microaggressions and the triggering and the this and the that and the other. People are dying. Literally fucking dying. While we sit there and dick around with identity politics. We could be easily, everybody united in reforming the police departments. Reforming it with community policing. And instead we want to fight. We want to fight each other. We want to make sure that we know that you don't have a right to talk because you're this color skin or you're this gender. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. You don't have a right to talk here. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but there's some people out there, like certain people, to shut up. We don't need your input. Time for you to shut up. That's ridiculous. That arrogance, that mean-spiritedness, that divisiveness ain't making a movement, folks. It is not making a movement. And you're not going to see the kind of change you need in your lifetime as long as that is the way it goes. You're not going to see any of these changes as long as that's the way it's going. You shut up over there. It's my turn to talk. We don't want to hear what you have to say. You cis white male, you, or whatever. Have you heard this? I know you have. You shut up. You don't have a right to speak. We've heard enough out of you. It's time for us to be a pro-labor, anti-war, New Deal movement and stick with that and the rest will take care of itself. But if you want to sit there and divide us amongst a million little orphaned issues and make it so that there's literally no chance of unifying, be my guest. But just know the blood and the death of every person left behind is in your hands. It's on your hands, and it's your fault. We have a chance. Let's take it. I'm Steve Grumbine. We're Real Progressives. Have a good night, everybody.